So the Swindon side make their entrance for their second home league match of the new season. Crowd gives them a good reception for this evening match against Bournemouth from the South Coast. Run through the Swindon town team this evening for you. In goal, Fraser Digby. And the full-backs, Dave Hockaday and Phil King. Ross MacLaren, Colin Calderwood and John Gittins. Steve Foley, man of the match against Portsmouth recently. At number 8, Tim Parkin keeps his place after regaining it after suspension for the away game at Blackburn Rovers last week. Duncan Shearer and Steve White up front. Bobby Barnes playing wide. The two substitutes are Charlie Henry and Paul Bowden. Now the Bournemouth side, in goal Jerry Payton, the fullbacks Mark Newson and Paul Morrell. They've got three recognised central defenders in the side, Kevin Bond, John Williams and Mark Whitlock. Then the wide man Mark O'Connor. Up front, Trevor Aylott and Ian Bishops. In midfield, Sean Brooks and Carl Richards. Their two substitutes, Sean Close and Sean O'Driscoll. And tonight's mascot, Paul Green. 11-year-old Paul goes to Eldene Junior School. His favourite team is naturally Swindon Town, although he does have a soft spot for Manchester United. And his favourite player from Swindon, well, that's that tough Scottish defender, Colin Calderwood. So a great moment for young Paul Green. Duncan Shearer and Steve White, the two men looking to score the goals that Swindon have been sadly lacking in their first 4 matches. The defence has played fairly well, apart from that one lapse against West Bromwich Albion. Duncan Shearer yet to get on the score sheet for his new side. Fans tonight will be hoping that he can find the back of the net. Steve White scored a couple of goals already. He will be ably supporting Shearer up front. Barnes had Hockaday on his right, but decided not to use him. His pass put Foley under a lot of pressure, but he managed to find King on the left-hand side. But his progress comes to an abrupt halt. So Swindon with the throw. King heads it on, but cleared by the Bournemouth defence. Caldwell pumps the ball forward for Swindon. Foley. So in the opening moments, the Bournemouth penalty area under a fair deal of pressure from Swindon. But as yet, the Swindon forwards failing to find their target. It's Newson with the free kick for Bournemouth. He fails to find one of his teammates. And the long ball forward. Hit far too far in front of Duncan Shearer, and Bournemouth win the throw-in. Bishop now trying to find a way forward for Bournemouth. The Swindon defence managed to get it away, and then the ball falls kindly for Bobby Barnes. Shearer, shot from Foley, just over the bar. Nicely played back by Duncan Shearer. Steve Foley getting on the end of that, scored that cracking goal against Portsmouth just a couple of Saturdays ago. Just over the top on that occasion. Bobby Barnes once again for Swindon, breaking on the Swindon right. As Shearer in the middle, waiting for the cross. Unfortunately, unable to get the better of Mark Whitlock. And now it's Carl Richards' turn to break for Bournemouth. Once again, the cross falls kindly for Richards, just into the side netting. But the ricochet from the cross from Mark O'Connor falling very kindly for Carl Richards of Bournemouth, his shot into the side netting. No real chances falling either side's way as yet, although Foley unleashing a good drive from the edge of the Bournemouth box, just over the bar. So now Hockaday looking to get Swindon moving forward once again, breaks down the right-hand side and wins a free kick for the Robins. So the free kick to be taken by Swindon's right back, Dave Hockaday, aiming for the big man in the middle, namely Shearer, but headed away by the Bournemouth defence. Only as far as Ross MacLaren plays the ball right back into the centre again. A lovely ball played out of defence, finds Mark O'Connor on the Bournemouth right, plays it inside, finds Sean Brooks. Richards plays the ball forward. Morrell to Richards. And in the end, Ross MacLaren has to concede the corner. So Bournemouth win the first corner of the first half. The corner to be taken by Mark O'Connor. Richards standing on the line in front of Digby. The cross comes across. And it's bobbling around the box to a certain degree. Brooks now finds Richards. He tries to curl one, but well wide of Swindon's goal. Bobby Barnes and Hockaday combining well there to create an element of panic in the Bournemouth defence. And in the end, Barnes is fouled and Swindon Town win the free kick to be taken by Ross MacLaren. They're a close season signing from Derby County. Parkins moved up into the box. And it's a shot on the left-hand side of the Bournemouth box. That's the direction that Swindon are attacking it. Once again, Steve Foley, the man, looking for the dramatic goal. Bishop and O'Connor combining once again for Bournemouth. Bournemouth once again looking for the way forward. Aylott trying to get O'Connor into the game, but his pass only finding King, who immediately tries to get White away. Gary Payton very quickly off his line. But it's still Swindon on the attack. White. Hockaday looking to get the cross in. And Swindon win the corner. The cross catching a deflection. Bobby Barnes takes the corner. Headed clear, only as far as Barnes. Looking to get the cross straight back in, and a very high ball. And the Bournemouth defence not relying on finesse to clear that ball. King finding Barnes, cropping up this time on the Swindon left. Cross comes in, and well, the crowd thought that Steve White was fouled on that occasion. The referee thought otherwise, but it's still Swindon that continue to come forward. Hockaday winning the ball in midfield. Trying to find Steve White, but it was easily cut out. Bishops and Richards combining once again. Bishop being at the centre of virtually every Bournemouth move in the first quarter of an hour of the first half. Bringing O'Connor and Richards to play in on the flanks as often as possible. But it's Swindon now that move forward. White away from his marker. But a very important tackle by Williams. Averts the danger for Bournemouth. Forward. Richards now jinking one way, then the other, looking for a way through that Swindon defence. Chip wide to O'Connor, now turning up on the left-hand side, and looking for Richards, but now it's Foley bringing it away for Swindon Town. Bobby Barnes once again breaking for the Robins, always looking to move forward. As King now brings the ball forward for Swindon. Well, he's got Shearer and White waiting for the cross in the box. That one finds Shearer. Shot from White, it's a goal! Swindon take the lead. Indeed, that was Gittins arriving late. The ball from Bobby Barnes across the box, headed back across the goal by Duncan Shearer, finding Gittins arriving late to hammer the ball into the roof of the net and give Swindon the lead. Swindon 1, Bournemouth 0. So just over 20 minutes gone in the first half, and Swindon make the start they could have only wished for. Well, Bobby Barnes, the sort of player who's always going to cause teams problem. A fine shot there from Bishop, well dealt with by Fraser Digby. No wonder this man is in the reckoning for an England under-21 cap. Fraser Digby, a fine save from Bournemouth's inspirational midfield player, Ian Bishop. Shearer once again causing problems in the Bournemouth defence. The cross comes across, headed by across the goal. Foley was there. Hockaday was coming in on the right-hand side. Bournemouth managed to get it as far as Richards, who gives it away to Hockaday. He looks to get away from Richards, unable to give him his cross in, and he does indeed whip the cross into the heart of the Bournemouth defence, but Kevin Bond managed to clear it. for Bournemouth, but it's Swindon now applying all the pressure. One well in the air by Parkin. And then Bishop is penalised for a foul on Hockaday of Swindon Town. Looking for Bobby Barnes, who's got a great deal of space. Unfortunately for Bournemouth, the ball being brought clear by Brooks. But the Bournemouth midfield's broken down to a certain degree at the moment as Swindon can continue to maintain the pressure. Foley now looking for a way forward. His chip harmlessly into the arms of Jerry Payton. Foley finding Giddens. He plays the ball out wide looking for Bobby Barnes. But the Bournemouth right back Mark Newnes lets it go for a throw-in. Brooks now bringing the ball clear for Bournemouth. Runs into an element of trouble. Now Williams adopts a more direct approach to getting the ball from defence into attack. And it certainly has caused a few problems as Aylott looks to unleash his shot, chips it across the face of the goal. Headed behind for a corner by Phil King. Played in by Foley. Looking for Duncan Shearer, but far too close to keeper Jerry Payton. Shearer and O'Driscoll tangling on the Bournemouth right-hand side. Bournemouth win a free kick. Williams leaves it for Kevin Bond. Williams making his way towards the Swindon Town box to add even more aerial power along with Aylott. They look for Williams, but it's headed clear. Barnes pumps the ball forward. Steve White caught offside. So just over 40 minutes gone in the first half. No doubt that there'll be 3 or 4 minutes of injury time as a result of that injury to Whitlock. But it's Swindon Town that lead by 2-0. But can Bournemouth pull one back before the break with his free kick, won by Richards on a dangerous position on the edge of the Swindon Town box. Maybe aiming for Williams or Aylott. Bishop leaves it. Hoisted across. And eventually the ball headed wide by Aylott. To a certain degree, the Bournemouth forwards have flattered to deceive. Once or twice Richards and Bishop have combined awfully well along with O'Connor. When it comes to the final third of the pitch, the ball just going astray. Full credit to the Swindon Town defence for closing down the Bournemouth forwards. Now it's Richards once again, as Morell breaking on his left. Played away by Gittins in no uncertain term, conceding the throw-in. Gittins and Calderwood organising the defence. So Morell with the long throw for Bournemouth. Williams gets on the end of that one. Aylott plays it out wide. And Bobby Barnes is penalised for a foul on the Bournemouth right back, Mark Newson. Ball chipped forward. And Kevin Bond gets on the end of that one and pulls one back. Well, the Swindon Town defence won't be the least bit pleased with that one. The ball floated across the front of the Swindon Town goal, over the top of all of their defenders. The goalkeeper lost it, and managing to get on the end of it, Kevin Bond. So he pulls one back for Bournemouth. As we come up to half-time, well, that couldn't have come at a better time for the South Coast club. They'll feel a little bit better going in at half-time. Swindon Town 2, Bournemouth 1. And the referee, Mr. King, blows the whistle for half-time. Bournemouth pulling themselves right back into this match with a goal about 2 minutes from the end of the first 45 minutes. Sean Brooks floating in a lovely free kick over the heads of the Swindon Town defence, then Kevin Bond ghosting in at the far post to make it 2-1. Swindon going ahead after about 20 minutes. Ross MacLaren then scoring from the penalty spot. All in all, an exciting first half with Swindon Town going in at half-time by 2-1. So the second 45 minutes just about to get underway. Swindon Town leading by 2-1. Calderwood and MacLaren with a penalty. The score is for Swindon. Kevin Bond pulling one back for Bournemouth, virtually on the stroke of half-time. So Bournemouth get the second half underway. Swindon Town 45 minutes away from their first victory of the new football season. But Harry Redknapp's side sure to attack to a much greater degree in this second 45 minutes, looking for that equaliser, looking to get something from this trip to Swindon and maintain their very good start to the new season. Bishop there finds Richards. Richards looking for a way through. And his chip results in a missed kick and the trouble over for Swindon Town. Cleared in no uncertain terms by Calderwood. Bishop looking for Newson. But it's now Foley breaking for Swindon Town. He finds Hockaday on the right. Once again, Hockaday breaking down the Swindon right, gets in a fine cross. And that was just taking away from Shearer and White, both in very dangerous positions. White trying to find Shearer. The ball now with Brooks for Bournemouth. Brings Aylott into the game. He tries to get Richards moving down the right-hand side. Things tidied up neatly by Gittins for Swindon Town. Bobby Barnes plays a nice ball out to King on the Swindon left. He gets his cross into Shearer. He couldn't get on the end of that, and in the end the ball goes for a Bournemouth throw-in. Fine overlapping by the Swindon Town left back Phil King, and ever present in last season's campaign in the second division. White finding Shearer. He gets in a fine cross towards White, and he hits the post! And the Bournemouth defenders breathe again. Well, a fine cross by Shearer found White virtually unmarked at the far post. And his header hits the post. Bournemouth a whisker away from being 3-1 down, but the score remains Swindon 2, Bournemouth 1. Richards now for Bournemouth. Manages to find Morrell, and the cross played in to the Swindon Town box, and the header goes just wide of Fraser Digby's goal. That header coming in from substitute Sean O'Driscoll. But fortunately for Swindon Town, wide of Digby's right-hand post. Aylott lays it back to Bishop. Brings O'Connor into the game. He finds Richard once again. Tricky wide man looking to get his cross in. The ball eventually brought clear by Foley and Shearer. Now Foley breaking down the centre of the park. But the shot on the right-hand side from Stephen White going well over the bar. Both sides really are failing to build up their moves through midfield, relying more on breaks to create chances. And Swindon, with the likes of White and Barnes, are always liable to cause one or two problems in that department, and it's Bobby Barnes now that has the ball. Gets a fine cross in, but the Bournemouth supporters happy to see it cleared. O'Connor now cropping up on the left-hand side. He's the ball through to Aylott, back to O'Connor. Just lost it slightly, and Parkin managed to get in and tackle, but Bishop chips it forward, looking for Trevor Aylott again, finds a bit of room, shoots! Just wide, going wide of Digby's left-hand post. But once again, the combination of Richards and Bishop causing one or two worrying moments for the Swindon Town defence. But it's Shearer now. The ball running away from Duncan Shearer, still looking for his first goal for his new club, Swindon. But caused plenty of problems in the part of the Bournemouth defences. Richards put through another ball over the top. The Bournemouth fans appealing for a penalty. Richards clattered somewhat by Gittins, but in the end, Swindon managed to clear the ball from what was a very serious threat on the edge of their box. But now the ball back in the Bournemouth half. And as usual, MacLaren takes it, plays it forward, finding Bobby Barnes on the right. He chips the ball, or attempts to chip the ball into the Bournemouth box, but nothing comes of it, and they manage to get the ball away. But a poor ball from Richards allows Swindon to maintain the pressure. Headed back, and it's shot just over the bar. Fine effort from Stephen White. Shearer and White combining once again for Swindon Town. Looking for Richards, back to Aylott. Trevor Aylott, one-time Chelsea striker. Certainly done the rounds of a number of league clubs And well in the air by Williams. Swindon still get the ball forward. Things tidied up by O'Driscoll. But once again, the Bournemouth attack peters out. Bishop plays the ball out wide. Laid back to Bond, plays in the cross, and Digby loses it, but the referee spots an infringement, a foul on the goalkeeper. Trevor Aylott, the culprit, and Swindon Town win the free kick. Williams winning the ball well in the Bournemouth defence, gets them moving once again. Driscoll plays in the cross to Aylott. He was looking for O'Connor, but King, well, he was almost caught in possession, but he got out of it very well, plays it back to his keeper. Some cool, calm and collected play from the Swindon Town left back, Phil King. Bishop and O'Connor trying to get Richards into the game. Gittins across, concedes the throw-in. Throw taken quickly, finds Richards. But it's put behind for a corner to Bournemouth. Well, with just over a quarter of an hour gone in the second half, Swindon Town continue to hang on to their narrow advantage, 2-1, but can Bournemouth do something about that now with this corner? Ball comes across, headed clear by Calderwood, conceding another throw-in. Taken quickly, Brooks playing the ball into the heart of the Swindon defence. Bishop now moves forward, shoots, but that's easily dealt with by Fraser Digby. Certainly Bishop has a good shot on him. Digby produced a fine save in the first half to deny Bishop. That one, not quite as much power, but Digby once again equal to it. Foley now in midfield for Swindon. Over the top, that one almost fell kindly for the Swindon Town attacking duo of Shearer and White, but cleared for the time being by Bournemouth as MacLaren puts it forward once again. Swindon. Foley on the right-hand side, chips it across. And somehow the Bournemouth defence managed to get that back to their keeper, a combination of Bond, Williams and Payton keeping it out, but in the process they concede a corner to be taken by Bobby Barnes. The ball straight into the arms of Jerry Payton. He gets Richards moving immediately down the right-hand side for Bournemouth. Cuts into his left. King gets in a fairly good tackle. Foley finishes it off, but the referee decides that illegal means were necessary to stop Richards' progress, and Bournemouth win the free kick. Just to be taken by Kevin Bond. Williams up for Bournemouth, but they play it out wide. And back into the centre. Aylott gets the flick on, looking for Richards. And fine save by Digby once again, this time from centre-half Williams. Well, Digby's having a fine game. 2 good saves in the last 5 minutes here, and an excellent save from Bishop in the first half. But Bournemouth gradually beginning to take the initiative. running at the Swindon Town defence once again, trying to combine with O'Connor to find a way through. The cross comes across, looking for Aylott. Nowhere near. And it's Foley looking to bring Swindon forward. Shearer plays the ball out wide to Bobby Barnes. Been a little bit quiet in the second half. Nice ball for Shearer. White in the middle. But the ball finding its way back to Jerry Payton. Well, the game livening up in the last 5 or 6 minutes. Bournemouth having, well, 1 or 2 half chances. I suppose they amounted to no more than that, arising from Swindon Town's very poor defensive play, and then Bournemouth lapsing into similar scrappy defending. Now it's Bishop trying to slow things down in the middle of the park. Lovely pass, finds O'Driscoll on the right for Bournemouth. He plays the ball back to Bishop, chips it forward for Richards. Fine punch by Digby. And the referee decides that in attempting to get on the end of that cross, Richards impeded goalkeeper Digby. Seemed a little harsh on the forward for Bournemouth. But Swindon looking to build on it. Shearer playing the ball out wide to Barnes, who brings Hockaday into the action. Well, he gets his cross in, finds White. Did well to get on the end of that one. But put under enough pressure. Nice. Bournemouth's Kevin Bond. So, Harry Regnapp plays his final card of this evening fixture. He takes off O'Connor on the right wing and sends on substitute Sean Close, one time of Tottenham Hotspur. So 2 former Tottenham players now in the middle of the Bournemouth midfield, Close and Brooks. And they'll be looking to find a way through the Swindon Town defence. But in the meantime, it's O'Driscoll trying to do exactly that. Bournemouth with the free kick launched toward Williams. He managed to get on the end of that. But in the end, the ball runs to the Swindon Town goalkeeper. But now it's Shearer trying to barge his way through the middle of the Bournemouth back 4. And Bournemouth win a free kick. And Driscoll. Ball played forward once again, but failing to find a Bournemouth player. And in the end, it goes out of play for a throw-in. Calderwood looking to get Swindon Town moving down the left-hand side. His pass nowhere near any of his teammates. Kevin Bond managed to tidy things up. Bournemouth come forward once again. Driscoll being pushed a lot more forward in the second half as Bournemouth look for this equaliser. Bishop in quickly there to win the ball for Bournemouth. Hewson into the penalty area. But Swindon managed to get it clear, and it's pumped up and over the top looking for Foley. But in the end, Williams tidies it up for Bournemouth as they attempt to come forward once again, still in search of that elusive equaliser. O'Driscoll once again. Much of the work being done on the Bournemouth right as Richards now in a dangerous position, plays it across the Swindon Town box. But Aylott unable to get on the end of it, and a combination of Parkin and MacLaren managed to get it behind for a corner to Bournemouth. Corner across once again, and a rather ambitious finish attempted by the Bournemouth. Played on by White, trying to look for Barnes, and once again Williams having a fine game in the back four for Bournemouth, tidies things up. Newson a bit slow to get back after attempting that volley, but now it's O'Driscoll. Brings Bond into the action. Bond whips in across, headed clear. Only as far as Bishop. Once again, it's played out to the right-hand side. And this Bond again stayed forward. And he wins a corner. A corner that he moves into the box to attempt to get on the end of, adding his height to the Bournemouth attack. So O'Driscoll with the corner. It comes across. Williams, once again the man they were aiming at, but as Bond chips it back across the Swindon goal, but it goes behind for a goal kick. Certainly Williams of Bournemouth having a fine game in defence and also causing one or two problems for Swindon Town in their own penalty area. So the substitution, the first substitution for Swindon Town by Lou Macari. He's taken off centre forward. Duncan Shearer. And the substitute for Swindon Town, Paul Bowden, who started in the first 3 games of the season, but was lost his place on the return of Parkin. So Lou Macari hoping that Paul Bowden can add a bit of stability to the middle of the Swindon Town midfield. Try and calm them down a little bit as make up for the 1 or 2 lapses of concentration by the back four. Well, the ball falling kindly for Bournemouth as they try to build from the back. Williams, unfortunately his pass goes astray on that occasion for the South Coast side. Bond and Newson looking to get forward now for Bournemouth, desperate for the equaliser. Richards. Well, Richards, he's got 1 or 2 nice moves, left 1 or 2 Swindon defenders on occasions, but his final ball certainly has left a lot to be desired. Williams chips it back to O'Driscoll. He mishit his volley. And the ball clear for Swindon. White. The ball played forward, looking for Bobby Barnes. But Newson tidying things up for Bournemouth, but having to concede the throw-in in the process. So a respite for the Swindon Town defence as they managed to move the pressure up the other end of the park. Oh, a wild tackle there. And Bournemouth immediately take the free kick. Once again, O'Driscoll brought into the action at the earliest possible moment. But Bishop trying to play the 1-2 with him, and it goes slightly astray. And it's White now for Swindon Town. Parkin arriving in the box. He decides to lay it back to Foley, who finds substitute Paul Bowden, indeed, who goes it into the box. And 2 fine saves by Jerry Payton, denying the ever-popular Parkin of Swindon Town. Once again, confusion in the Swindon Town defence. But fortunately for them, Ross MacLaren manages to tidy things up. Living very dangerously at the moment, the Swindon Town back four. And they seem content to sit back on this 2-1 lead, try and hang on for the last 5 or 6 minutes, leaving Steve White and Bobby Barnes alone up front. But Bournemouth, with Newson, continuing to look for that equaliser. And certainly they've created 1 or 2 chances. They can't be ruled out. 1 goal. All that separates the sides. O'Driscoll caught in an offside position. Barnes managing to win the ball in the air on that occasion, but Swindon pretty lightweight up front now since Shearer was taken off for Bowden. And with still 10 minutes to go, they could really be playing into the hands of Harry Redknapp's Bournemouth side, who've looked dangerous going forward through O'Driscoll and Richards and Bishop, pulling the strings in midfield. Amounting to somewhat of a rearguard action, the final 10 minutes for Swindon Town, looking for their first victory of the season. As yet, the luck holds with them. The ball falls kindly for them in defence. Lou Macari probably hoping the referee's watch is a little fast as Bishop chips the ball forward, finds a lot. Cross comes in from the left-hand side, behind the goal. Really, with a centre-forward like Trevor Aylott up front for Bournemouth, he'd be looking for a much better service from both flanks than that. The big man really does need good service from both of his wide men in order to try and create chances in the Swindon Town area. O'Driscoll once again well in for Bournemouth, plays the ball through, ends up with Richards now. Richards looking for a way through the Swindon Town defence, chips it across the face of the area. Aylott unable to get on the end of that. With the ball planted forward, Bobby Barnes once again as game as ever, chasing after it, and almost something from nothing there for Swindon, but Payton off his line quickly to gather the back pass at the feet of White. Aylott now. Aylott getting on the end of the header there, looking for Brooks. So coming up to the last 5 minutes or so of this second division game between Swindon Town and Bournemouth. The Robins continue to lead by 2-1. But now Swindon with a good chance here, an important interception by Bishop, with Parkin breaking through midfield. But now it's Brooks for Bournemouth. And a very, very risky back pass by Swindon Town, but fortunately Fraser Digby off his line very quickly to gather the ball. Certainly a game that's been played in fits and starts. Neither side managing to really gain the upper hand for any length of time. And as Williams shows us there, both sides relying very much on the long ball through the middle, virtually missing out midfield. But Bournemouth now putting Digby under pressure, in particular Richards, but Digby equal to the task. but it falls kindly for Bournemouth. Morrell plants the ball forward. But White and Barnes combining on the halfway line for Swindon Town. Barnes trying to chip the ball into the path of White, but he was about 3 or 4 yards offside. Now Brooks for Bournemouth. Looking for a way through. Lays the ball back for Bishop to have a shot. But it's cleared to Bobby Barnes on the right-hand side for Swindon. He's got White up on the right. Barnes now cuts into the middle. Bowden was coming late. Barnes finds a great deal of space. Shoots Bobby Barnes! That's the end of this game as far as Bournemouth are concerned. Bobby Barnes picked up the ball on the right-hand side. Managed to play it down the flank to Steve White. Barnes cut inside. 3 or 4 Bournemouth defenders totally ignored his move to the far post. So he picked up White's cross, chips it over goalkeeper Jerry Payton. Swindon 3, Bournemouth 1. No doubt about it now. Swindon pick up their first 3 points of the new season. Bobby Barnes, the tricky winger, scoring for the Robins. But how a Bournemouth defender never picked him up, I'll never know. He cut in from the Swindon Town right-hand side, right across the face of Bournemouth's goal. Not one man went with him. All drawn towards Steve White. Played in a lovely chip. Barnes on the end of it. A lot now, and O'Driscoll. Brooks putting in a cross. Really is a pretty hopeless task now for Bournemouth. As we come up towards full time, a happy occasion at the county ground for Swindon Town. Undefeated now in the last 3 games, only having lost once, and indeed the referee blows. I thought he was going to blow the final whistle, but no, Lou Macari takes off Steve White, plays his final substitute. Well, this is no more than a brief run out for Charlie Henry. Probably enjoy a couple of minutes at the very most. As I was saying, Swindon only beaten once this season, even though it's taken them until this evening to get off the mark with a victory. Period of transition for the Robins, having sold Quinn and Bamber and Kamara in the close season, but things gradually beginning to fit together. And there we go. 1 or 2 minutes for Charlie Henry, maybe 10 or 15 seconds for the old campaigner at Swindon Town. Well, that's a great result for Swindon. They finally sealed it. 3-1. Calderwood put them in the lead 20 minutes into the first half. Ross MacLaren then took a penalty after Barnes had been brought down in the Bournemouth area. Planted well and truly to the right of Payton. Payton, no chance whatsoever. Then Kevin Bond pulled one back for Bournemouth just on half-time. They go in 2-1 at half-time. The second half probably didn't quite live up to the expectations of the first half, but that won't bother any Swindon supporter, especially when Bobby Barnes put it beyond any doubt with the winning goal a couple of minutes before full-time. Steve White getting in a good cross from the right-hand side. Barnes ghosting in on the far post. 3-1 to Swindon Town. A happy night here at the county ground.
For the winger at Swindon. He broke away, and there's Colin Calderwood finishing it off. Just the lift Swindon needed after a couple of draws and 2 defeats this season. The 8,000 crowd saw Barnes soon in the thick of it again. A searching ball from Calderwood. There's White's glancing header right into the winger's path. Little doubt about that foul. Yes, it's a penalty, and Ross MacLaren shows how to knock the spot kick home. But Bournemouth were to hit back on the stroke of half-time. And a spectacular goal too. Up go the heads, but Kevin Bond getting it home from a difficult angle. Kevin Bond, the John Bond manager's son. Now the second half, and Swindon's midfield man Steve Foley getting the cross, but Steve White frustrated by the woodwork. Another penetrating run coming up from this hungry Swindon team, and it's from Dave Hockaday. Not bad for a fullback, eh? But that man Kevin Bond, who was just about everywhere, cleared for Bournemouth. At the other end, goalkeeper Fraser Digby earning his keep. Smart save. Then Lubakari, Swindon's manager, decided to bring on Peter Coyne in place of the expensive Duncan Shearer, and Coyne soon in action. Steve White's busy. He finds Foley, who sets up Coyne, but Coyne's first attempt can't beat Jerry Payton, who then proves why he is an Irish international goalkeeper. Then that man Barnes pops up again. He slips the ball to Steve White, who draws the defence out, and Barnes finishes it off perfectly, does he not? Just times everything right and slips the ball home, and Swindon's man of the match celebrates his team's first win of the season. Yes, Swindon 3, Bournemouth 1.